At a speed of -0.01 seconds, the man's hands grew long and thick, reaching the ground. Dahua stared wide-eyed, thinking the man had a strange illness, when she heard the man shouting outside as well. Overcome with fear, Dahua quickly rushed right outside. The man was equally terrified and panicked, because another identical Dahua was relentlessly chasing him closely from directly behind. Clearly, they weren't normal humans at all. As the two creatures slowly approached, ever closer, the doctor decided to stall them with conversation, all while suddenly pulling Dahlia towards the door. But the monsters clearly weren't giving them any chance. Seeing them, they quickly jumped onto the hover vehicles and desperately sped away. Just when they thought they'd escaped completely, the monsters began to grow larger, and larger still, reaching out very long arms to grab the vehicles. Seeing this, Dahua grabbed an iron bar and snatched it at the monster. Feeling pain, the monster released its grip. Enraged, it retaliated, slamming a hand onto the hovercraft, making the vehicle spin. The doctor desperately tried to steer the vehicle, but with too much force applied, the steering wheel came clean off, forcing the hovercar to a complete and sudden halt nearby. Just when they thought they were doomed, the monster, growing increasingly large, got stuck fast in the tunnel. Looking at the motionless creatures, the doctor was quite puzzled. How did these monsters get on the ship, and why did they resemble them so closely? Then, he vividly recorded the airlock opening 3 years ago. After that, the entire crew completely and utterly vanished, leaving the strange robot behind in the cold, dark corridors. The doctor wanted to get more information from the monster. But then the very next second, that's when they saw the ventilation shaft on the wall, and they scrambled up it very quickly, indeed, with urgency. Suddenly, a strange noise echoed loudly and clearly, separating the climbers. Dahua tumbled quickly to the other side. The doctor, following the sound closely, entered a metal door and met Dahua rushing towards him very fast. The doctor was incredibly excited and really wanted to hug them tightly with joy and anticipation. But then, almost immediately and unexpectedly, in the very next moment, I was so scared that I quickly turned around and ran away in fright. Dahua, who was frantically searching for a way out on the other side, also bumped into the flustered doctor. Monster's name, he. The doctor hurriedly explained that he was the real one, then loosened his tie and threw it on the ground, saying that if we ever encountered him wearing a tie again, we should immediately turn around and run away extremely fast and far away from him. But then Dahua noticed something was wrong, asking where exactly the tie he had just dropped had gone to just then, a detail that concerned him significantly. And this doctor was obviously a monster in disguise, truly and absolutely indeed. Big Flower immediately turned and ran, but then the strange noise started again. The robot in the corridor took another step forward. At that precise moment, the two people and the two monsters all met in the same cabin. They all argued fiercely, claiming to be the real one, the others imposters. In this confusing situation, nobody could distinguish the truth. Dahua confessed her confusion. A doctor chimed in, saying Dahua never considered herself unintelligent. Another doctor chimed in, Dahua sometimes feels stupid, and other times feels very intelligent. Immediately after, the real Dahua recognized the true doctor. But then the two monsters began to swell. Watching the menacing creatures, the two subconsciously stepped back. Who knew what would happen next? They could only run into the cockpit to hide, watching the monster chasing behind them. The doctor wondered why they stopped so briefly, almost hesitating. Shouldn't they just break down the door and come right in? Only then did the doctor fully realize the monster was a void creature formed from negative emotions. The more afraid humans were, the more active brainwaves became, allowing the monster to replicate even faster. They quickly stopped their wild thoughts. Just then, a strange noise suddenly came from directly above the carpet area. Unable to contain his curiosity, the doctor risked being copied by the monster and opened the hatch. He saw a dead astronaut slowly and silently floating outside. Even more eerie, he wasn't wearing a helmet. The doctor instantly recalled that this man was the ship's captain, but why wasn't he wearing a helmet with his spacesuit? Suddenly, the doctor slapped his thigh, exclaiming excitedly, the captain committed suicide deliberately. He must have realized the monster was replicating him, and the ship was controlled. If the monster piloted the ship back to his planet, impersonating the captain to start a war, the consequences would be unimaginable. So, he decisively ended his own life before the monster could fully revive. The robots in the passage were placed there by the captain, who specifically ordered them to take 3 years to traverse the long tunnel, intending to destroy the ship. It took ages, just to deceive the monster on the ship. Right at this precise moment, that eerie noise returned once again. Sensing the danger, the monster immediately turned and charged directly towards the robot. Now understanding the truth fully, the doctor speeds up the robot detonation quite significantly and deliberately at this moment. A console suddenly appears right there with a big, conspicuous red button to immediately explode the ship. Once done, the Doctor immediately pursued the two monsters. Noticing the Doctor's relentless pursuit, the monsters attempted to turn and impede his progress, only to be easily knocked down. As they rose, they saw Big Flower close in as well. Immediately, the two sides engaged in a fierce struggle. Just as the Doctor was about to catch up to the monster, it suddenly used its hands and feet together, like a nimble monkey, and rapidly climbed towards the robot. There's definitely no catching up now, but then, the Doctor suddenly realized, if the monster couldn't stop the robot, the crisis here would be completely resolved. Just as predicted, a time shadow quickly arrived to retrieve him. With great haste, the professor quickly ripped off the time key and jumped right in almost immediately and quickly, then speeding directly toward the two absolutely identical flowers, now completely and utterly indistinguishable even to him. He then asked Dawa specifically how to get the audience to pay attention to, and to really like his work, since Dawa said to keep creating as long as he didn't starve. The other Dawa offered no further explanation. In the final moment, the Doctor chose another person over giving Dahua a truly detailed explanation. He hastily pulled her into the time machine, completely unaware that the real Dahua was left inside the ship, and the monster disguised as her was now grinning triumphantly, quite wickedly, and subtly. The self-destruct sequence initiated. The robot resolutely pressed the detonation button. At the last second, the monster failed to intervene, consumed by the explosive force. Desperate, Big Flower awaited death, never expecting the time machine to accurately identify the monster, and to alert the Doctor very promptly. The Doctor returned to the ship quickly, ejected the monster, and the real Big Flower seized the opportunity to enter the time machine.